CJ the Smart Guy with you. And today I have a great guest. He is an institutional consultant as well as a podcast owner and 1/4 of the Poor Horsemen podcast. Y'all, LP, man. How you been?
Man, what's good, brother? How you been doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm glad you could come on.
Nah, come on, man. We've been saying we was going to do this for a while, so this is perfect timing.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So for everybody out there, what is institutional consultant? Like, what is that?
Okay, so there's kind of 3 tiers to traditional asset management.
Okay.
All right. Your first would be the people who manage individual assets. Someone comes to you with a pool of money. Maybe they had a family member die, they had a trust, etc. You manage that money that's in the stock market. Mm-hmm. Second tier would be maybe you go to an organization and you help the employees of that organization manage that money. The third tier would be the institution's consultant, the one who tells the institutions what the employees could manage.
Oh, okay. So you're telling employees, hey, look, this is what you can do.
Well, I tell the employer what investments the employees should have available for their funds.
Got you. So you're the one who can make people rich or poor.
I mean, rich and poor is relative. I would say I'm the person who helps people retire with dignity.
Got you.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really important because inflation is
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's affecting a whole lot of people's accounts. I was on Twitter the other day, and it's a dude named Tej.
Okay.
And he was saying, man, he couldn't imagine people who are about to retire this year, and then the stock market drops by 30%. And I was like, well, that's why most people want to move from stocks into bonds the older they get or the closer they get to retirement, just to mitigate some of that risk. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a strategy you've probably heard before of a certain equity mix or in the stock market in the actual companies versus a fixed income mix that allows you to spread your money amongst assets that aren't in growth categories. So municipal bonds, governmental bonds, et cetera. I do think it makes more sense as you get closer to retirement, not pull everything out the market, but you don't want to be subject to what's happening right now. Yeah. Like if you're, older than 60, there's no reason for you to be trying to get net 8 to 15% gains. Yeah. You need to be preserving your money instead of accumulating more assets.
Well, what do you say to the people who are like, it's not that they're trying to get 8-9% gains, but inflation is 8-9%. So they're just trying to keep up with inflation. What type of investments would you?
This inflation period has been an anomaly. Okay. I don't consider it transitory like people have said before. That never made any sense to
Janet
me.
Yellen.
Yeah, I think they were trying to make people feel comfortable with what was happening with COVID. Yeah. But 8-9% inflation, we haven't seen that since the 80s. Yeah. Typically inflation, if we think about it for real, and for those of you, inflation is the cost of goods and service over a year period, what that goes up. For example, a car today might have been $10,000. Now that same car, because of inflation, is probably close to $12,000. Yeah. So I don't think you can outpace, no one can outpace 8-9%, but the market can typically outpace 2-3% inflation.
Well, see, a lot of people in my group that are watching this would say, well, 9% is nothing in the Bitcoin world.
Without question. Yeah, I would agree. If we have that conversation, I would agree. Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general is different. Bitcoin being the standard is completely different. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
So I'll ask this. So these institutions, how are they feeling about Bitcoin? Because I remember a lot of the banks, like the CEO of Chase, he was basically calling Bitcoin like trash, rat poison from Warren Buffett. Like, how are institutions looking at it right now?
Well, you've got 2 types. You've got the ones that fear change. Yeah. And the ones that fear change will always make things seem worse than they are. Yeah. So, no, we can't do this. You can't add this to portfolios because we are afraid people are going to lose their money. Well, people lose money every day. Okay. And then the second camp of people that you might have a bubbling from employees that say, hey, why don't we have this as an option to invest, in a tax-free account versus what I have to do in a retail space where it's after tax. So you've kind of got 2 groups of people there.
Yeah. Cause I know with us, like, shout out to Bitcoin Zay, but he has this term saying no keys, no cheese, meaning if you don't own your private keys, you don't actually own your cryptocurrency. And so a lot of us, we're not looking towards a 401k or a pension or even a hedge fund, because if you don't own the keys to your crypto, we know that any given time, the government, the banks can seize it
at any point.
And we just don't trust that, you know?
No, I completely agree with that. And shout out to Bitcoin Zay also, because I really like that term. But the thing with Bitcoin that's, and you're more of the specialist than me, but the thing that's special about that is that it's really not governed by one place.
Correct.
And the traditional banking system, we all know, you can get thrown off of that thing for anything.
Kanye West.
Perfect example. Perfect. Now, Kanye was kind of reckless. Let's be honest. Kanye is kind of reckless. Some people would say he's free from the Matrix, though.
Maybe.
Some people would say that. Do you disagree?
I don't know. I watched the episode that you guys had on The Poor Horsemen. Y'all talked about Kanye, and it was funny because some of y'all were saying that you guys don't listen to anything he says. You just buy his clothes. You just listen to his music. And I'm kind of the opposite because I don't have any Yeezys. I'm not really a big listener of Kanye's music, but when he talks, I listen. I listen to all the interviews. I pay attention to all of his moves. So I think he's the artist.
So you're tapped in more into his philosophy
for sure
than his talent.
For sure.
I would say that the majority of people are more tapped into his talent than his way of thinking.
Might be a Gemini thing.
It might be. Yeah. It might be. You know, I don't know what I am. I'm born in September, so I don't know what I am.
I don't even know. Maybe a Libra or something.
I don't know what I am.
So now that you've got the Poor Horsemen podcast, what are some of your tips that you might have for any other groups of people who are trying to start a podcast, who are interested in it? What are some tips you would give them?
So first, let me, Poor Horsemen, we shoot out of the same space that CJ and I are shooting in here now. We've done a little over 200 episodes. So the first thing I would say, I know it's crazy, right?
Man, that's big.
Yeah. The first thing I would say is you need to find people who are like-minded. Mm-hmm. And I say like-minded, but not the same. Because oftentimes when you have a group of people in a podcast, everyone is saying the same thing. That becomes repetitive and boring. One thing that I think we've made a point to do is each one of us has a unique personality. So if you have a show that's centered around a group of hosts, those group of hosts needs to be like-minded, meaning we all have the same goal, but you do not have to all feel like you need to get there the same way. Because that's where shows start to break down.
That's like a basketball team. A starting five, you don't want everybody to be point guards.
And that's what happens a lot with shows.
Yeah.
Everyone says, well, I'm going to get the most popular people in the world and I'm going to throw them on a podcast.
Yeah.
And that shiny object is only shiny for so long.
Yeah.
When people start to see that, man, they may not have liked each other. They really don't talk.
Yeah.
The people on Poor Horsemen, I can say Casey, JC, they're brothers.
Okay, yeah.
And then Phil, he's our native Houstonian, I would say. We all bring something different to the table, and we all like each other actually as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that episode, man. Look, y'all was cracking jokes.
Drunk.
Man, y'all was cracking jokes the whole time. I was over here trying to stay focused, and y'all was making jokes. I had a couple drinks, and it was a fun experience.
Yeah,
I say that.
It's a good time. It's a good time for sure.
Yeah, so explain. So I've seen your podcast episodes, right? You've got one where you're eating chips.
We did the hot chip.
That are extremely hot.
We did that.
And y'all went viral with that.
We did. Yeah.
So does that get more attention, or do some of the ones where you do educational videos get more attention? And what purpose do both of those serve?
Okay, so it depends on the audience. And so we say Poor Horseman is more than a podcast, it's a platform. Mm-hmm. Because some people will come to you for comedy, and then some people will come to you for information. For example, your episode of the Academy was one of our best episodes because people who have been looking for content related to cryptocurrency, now they have an expert that they can tap into. Mm-hmm. We feel like we can be a platform that gives people that opportunity. But we also like the bullshit. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. We like to, if you knew the 4 personalities in real life like you do, we all don't take ourselves serious. Yeah. So we like to do the comedy piece as well. And you may be surprised to know this, but we started as a basketball podcast.
Oh, wow.
All we talked about was the NBA.
I didn't know that.
We literally started talking about LeBron, when he was in Miami, that's when the pod started.
Wow.
And then when he went back to Cleveland, he had those 4 years because we're going on our 5th year now.
Yeah. How do you feel about Draymond Green knocking out Jordan Poole?
Man, I don't think you ever hit a teammate like that.
Yeah.
As a person who has started teammate fights.
Yeah.
Because I've fought teammates before. You don't hit them like that.
Yeah.
You hit them with love.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
For real.
Like, you might hit them in the chest, in the stomach, jaw, man. Anything could happen. Yeah. What do you think about that?
Man, I remember when the interview first came out, like the news was like there was a punch, and I was thinking it was like a normal punch. Like when you watch like NBA games and they fight.
The fake punch.
Yeah. Like I thought he may have jabbed him a couple times, or maybe it was a scuffle, maybe it was a little wrestling. But then when I seen the video.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I was like, oh, he hit him like that was a street.
Videos make everything worse.
He knocked him out, like his whole knees just, and I was like, man.
He lucky he didn't break his jaw. Because imagine you break your 6th man of the year's jaw.
Man.
The year after you're trying to defend the championship.
Man.
Come on, man.
Like fights, I've been in plenty of fights in sports. Like I played baseball all the way from like 5 years old all the way to TSU at 20 years old. I've been in plenty of fights, but
nothing like that.
Didn't nobody get hit like that.
Because I think, to me, if you hit someone like that, you really dislike them.
Like to the soul.
To the soul. Yeah. I mean, if I'm a punch someone like that, I need to be prepared for anything after that.
Yeah.
Like anything. Like shoot me, stab me. Like anything could happen after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, we're gonna see if they bring it back. I know
they play tonight.
Yeah. It's going to be a long season.
It is.
They're going to be talking trash to Jordan Poole when he at the line.
I would.
Yeah.
If I was an opposing team, if I was fans in the other, I would have already printed signs of the punch.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole gets to the free throw line. Oh, we acting out the punch.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if I was Jordan Poole, at least he got his contract.
Facts. $140 million.
Yeah. Him and Andrew Wiggins.
Yep. So
the Warriors are going to be a force to be reckoned with for.
Yeah, I mean, with a payroll of $500 million, $500 million a year, come on, man.
Well, that's the they say that's the luxury tax is like 400 million.
That's ridiculous.
Like I was like, oh man,
that is ridiculous.
Yeah, but I love basketball. I love watching it. I'm a big Lakers fan, and I see you a family man now.
No doubt.
I see that LeBron, he's trying to bring Bronny and Bryce to the NBA. How's family life and balancing? Institutional consultant with a podcast and family life?
Well, I never use the word balance.
Okay.
Because I don't think there's a way to really balance anything. You have to set priorities.
Yeah.
And your family has to be first in line for that priority.
Yeah.
So while you think you're balancing things, you're not, because you're always taking something from another place. While I'm on the road traveling with work, I'm taking away from my family and the podcast.
Yeah. When
I'm in town, I may be with more time with the family, I'm taking away from my job.
Yeah.
While I'm doing podcasting, I might be taking away from the family. So there's really no balance. You just have to determine what's priority in that time and then try to make it up on the back end.
Yeah, for sure. I know I went to Texas Southern University, down here in Houston. That's what brought me to Houston in the first place, was school. And they showed me a lot of that because I was balancing being an accountant.
Yep.
Like I was president of NABA, National Association of Black Accountants. I was in school. I took an internship, and I was just trying to balance it all out. But I know you've traveled around the whole country as well.
Yeah.
So where are you originally from?
So military.
Military, okay.
If I was to claim a place, I would claim Lafayette, Louisiana.
Okay.
That's where my parents reside now. That's where their retirement home is. Both my parents are in their 70s.
Oh, wow.
All right. I'm old. I'm 42. I'm old.
Man, that's not fair, man. You look younger than me. That's not even fair, man.
I'm old, man. So I've got 2 older brothers who are one in his 50s, one about to be 50, and then a younger brother in his 30s. And if we were to claim a place, I'd say Louisiana. But man, I've lived everywhere. I mean, we've lived in Italy. We've lived California, New Mexico, Oklahoma, of course, Texas, Florida, pretty much anywhere there was a military base. Yeah. We probably spent a couple years.
Yeah. So, I travel a lot also.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite places that you've traveled to?
Oh, my favorite place by far is Chicago.
Chicago?
Without question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because Chicago, you can go from, this is going to sound bad, but you can go from the hood to the high rise in 10 minutes.
Yeah, Hyde Park.
Yeah, exactly. You already know what I'm talking about. So you can literally walk a block and get everything you want in Chicago. Every other city's not like that.
Yeah.
Chicago's my favorite city by far.
It's funny, right? So, Hill Harper, I met him when I was on tour with Naja Roberts.
Yeah. And shout out to Hill.
Yeah, shout outs to Hill Harper. Yeah. And, when I first heard Hyde Park, I was thinking LA Hyde Park, which is like South Central.
South Central.
Which is like, that's not always just the place that you would want to, go at a certain time of night. And so when I was like Hyde Park in Chicago, I instantly was thinking about that. Like, no, the Hyde Park that's the nice area. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. And so, I also know that Hill Harper, he's an alpha.
He is an alpha, shout out.
Yeah. So I want to give you that platform, man. Because most people in California, we don't know, about fraternities, sororities. Like there was no HBCUs, I think, west of Prairie View.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah.
So can you give a little background about what alphas are, what are Greek fraternities, and why they're important to society?
Yeah, well, I would say, we're service-based organizations, first off. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we care about our education endeavors during undergrad, but even postgraduate, there are a number of graduate chapters. And I encourage any brother out there, even if you've graduated from a college or didn't, or looking to get involved in an organization, a graduate chapter of any organization, of course, I'll be more partial to Alpha Phi Alpha, but a graduate chapter of any organization benefits, because what we do is, outside of the networking and lifting each other up, Hill and I, from the conversation we had with you, we found out we were alphas. We knew we would work together.
Yeah.
And that's where kind of that project with you came from there. Not only is it being able to give assist to each other, but at the same time, we've built this network of people that you can always bounce something off of. Mm-hmm. In my world, when I'm going back to my real job, there are brothers who have done the same type of work that I'm doing now that I can go to.
Yeah.
That even if I've never met them from Adam, man, you were at such and such chapter, I'm at this chapter, they're going to find time to talk to me.
Yeah.
So that relationship building, helping the community, being stewards of our community is a big deal. Some of my closest friends are the 12 brothers that I, was at school with when I was at Oklahoma.
Yeah. Group economics.
Without question. Yeah. And so we use collective economics quite a bit. Yeah. Like a number of us are involved. The co-owner of this space is my fraternity brother.
Ah, got you.
So it makes a difference to who you can trust. Think about how long it even took for you and I to build up the trust to say, we're going to work together.
Yeah.
With them, it's instant.
Yeah.
Because I already know you went through the same things that I've went through.
Yeah.
I got an idea of the people you're around.
Yeah.
Well, let's build.
What they call you, where you from, and you can look that up.
I could, and if you lying, I'm gonna find out quickly.
Yeah.
If you tell me you went to this chapter and you did XYZ, if I really want to find out, I can find out.
Yeah.
Anybody would know me out, Zeta chapter, University of Oklahoma. You can go look me up at any point. You're not gonna find LP.
Yeah.
They'll find my government names, but people know who I am. So
do you think it's different at like a PWI
without
versus HBCU?
Yeah, without question. So I've got a nephew at Southern. It's a different scenario.
Yeah.
One regret that I probably do have is that all of my university has been PWIs.
Yeah.
OU, A&M, University of Chicago.
But shout outs to you because you hiring everybody from Texas Southern
without
University.
Question, yeah, because I know what it is. Yeah, I put on, and a lot of the people that we work with are from TSU or PV. You know, that's proximity where I am. If I was in Oklahoma, I would say it'd probably be Langston. Yeah. If I was in Baton Rouge, it'd probably be Southern. You know, I'm really big into pouring back into what I think is important.
Man, I'm grateful for that.
Nah, no doubt, man.
You know, so a couple things came to my mind. So you talked about group economics. There's a book that I've been reading called Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson.
Yeah, I know Claude Anderson very well. Know the name very well.
Man, when I just go in, it was like I read the book and to me it was just a whole bunch of obvious stuff.
But it's not obvious.
But it connected all the dots that I never connected the dots to.
Facts.
And I was like, wait, I know this. I know this. I didn't learn a lot, but what I did was I connected the dots, which clarified like my entire life. Like
it can.
I was shocked. Like I'm loving this book so far. And for anybody out there who hasn't read it yet, Dr. Claude Anderson, Powernomics. It teaches you about how to, spend money within your own community, how it generates wealth. It teaches you about the history of the country, and it shows you how you can wiggle through that successfully, how to navigate. Because I'm a complete entrepreneur.
You are.
But I went through corporate America. Before I had the locks, I was I worked in corporate America day in, day out. That's why I got these gray hairs. And then before that, I went to college. And, if you really read that book, or you start to understand how this world works, if you understand how money works.
That's all you need to know.
Man.
And I would recommend it to anybody, especially under 30.
Yeah.
If you're under 30 and you watch this, CJ is a great leader of men, great leader of women also. If you're under 30, I would encourage you to read any book that teaches you how money works. Powernomics is probably a great start.
Yeah.
Because he does it in a way where it's simplified.
Very simplified.
Yeah. It's simple. But then once you get past that, there are a bunch of people that you can plug into, because learning how money transfers amongst systems will change the way you look at your life.
I wish I would have read that in high school.
I agree. Yeah. There's a few things I wish I'd have read in high school.
Yeah.
I wish I would have read Who Not How in high school. Who Not How teaches you, most of us, your normal education teaches you how to be efficient and go get a job. Mm-hmm. Who Not How teaches you how to find the people to do the work for you.
That part, yeah.
And that changed my life.
Yeah, I need to read that now.
Man, it changes your life. It changed your life. And then the other book I would tell people to go get, I want to say it's like 10 things that a millionaire does different from middle class. Okay. I might have the title wrong, but it's a short read. I'm talking maybe 100 pages.
Yeah.
But it's powerful. Yeah. Like just the way you move through a society, those two books will give you a lot of information.
Yeah, I know when I was working for Warren Buffett, I started doing a lot of reading on him.
Yeah.
And I was listening to a lot of Dr. Boyce Watkins.
Yeah.
And just different leaders. And, one thing that they all mention is when you're too busy working, you don't have enough time to research.
Yeah, without question. Like the wealthiest people, they're not, this is gonna sound bad, but the wealthiest people are not doing day-to-day tasks.
No.
A lot of their work is thought leadership.
Correct.
Putting wealthy people talk about ideas. Poor people talk about people.
Yeah.
So if you can get around people who are talking about ideas and what's next, you're going to expand 10 times greater than the people who are talking about people.
Yeah, because that doesn't matter. If you're talking about people, it should be talking about their process to get
exactly. How did you get
where
there?
they're at? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what I did with Nipsey. So a lot of people, they wonder, wow, how did you position yourself in this crypto space as an accountant? Because, I don't really have any competition. Like,
you don't? Yeah.
There's other people who do crypto taxes, but there's so many people who are in the crypto space and so few people who do crypto taxes. It's not competition. We're all working together. And they wonder, well, how did you position yourself? Man, I just listen and watch Nipsey Hussle's every move.
Yeah.
Re-engineered it because I'm not a rapper. But I was like, let me re-engineer that for accounting. And so I was like, well, then let me research some accountants and see how they did it.
Yeah.
And so the reason I started doing this podcast was because I looked at a dude named, he's from Atlanta. He's a CPA. He was the fourth CPA to ever become a CPA. And he worked with Martin Luther King. Wow. And he created the podcast so that, SNCC, so that they can go over there and talk about the different events and things like that nature. So he bought the podcast, he bought the studio, the radio station, and then broadcast it. And I was like, well, I don't have money yet to buy a radio station.
Yeah.
So let me use a podcast where I can, spread the word to everybody. I know this name. I feel really bad right now.
We'll get it. Don't worry.
Look, we're gonna pop up the name
as soon as we get done. That's how it's gonna work.
Man. But he was a fourth black CPA to ever to get his license.
But what I would say, I'm gonna do this just because I know this brother. CJ will be that next person. I'm telling you now, for the people who are early in on, so I look at people also like, if you could buy stock in a person, I would encourage people to get on this, because you passed the ground floor now. Like, a lot of people messed up. They should have caught you 3 years ago.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? like if you could buy stock in a person, I would encourage everyone to invest some of those coins in what he's doing, because not only is he an innovative thinker, there's times where I want to cuss him out on Twitter, like, you know, but
that's okay.
But the way my life works, I can't do that right now. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I'll hit him on the side and be like, man, I don't know what you're talking about there, but I would encourage all y'all to invest your time and energy in what he's putting out, because there's no one doing what he's doing. No one.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
And I wouldn't say that just on camera. You know what I think.
Yeah.
And the fact that I get to be on your show, I'm gonna let you know. Yeah. Cause I'll also let you know if you suck.
Yeah, for sure.
I do that too. I don't care. What we're gonna do, fight? Yeah. Most people don't know what I look like. So, you know, so I'm good too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on. I think with Twitter, like, it's one of those things where you're allowed to voice what you're thinking. To some extent, because, you know, as you see, Kanye got kicked off of Twitter. But I think free speech is important. I think that being able to express your ideas, to me, the original Black Lives Matter movement came from Twitter.
Without question.
You know, with Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, like George Floyd to me was like BLM 2.
It became corporate.
Yeah, and it wasn't that, like, I remember when Kobe was wearing the shirts and Nipsey was wearing the shirts, and, you know, it was like this real, true movement. But a lot of them, like a lot of the original leaders, they mysteriously died in car explosions.
And the other leaders bought the TikTok house.
Yeah,
they spent like, you know, $8 million of donated money because they said they want to shoot content. I'm gonna tell you right now, we own some spaces where we shoot content. You don't need $8 million.
Nah,
you don't.
Nah.
I mean, now, do I think that maybe we don't have all the information? So can I speak on them? We don't have all the information. But I would say you don't need $8 million to shoot content.
Yeah. And I think, you know, nonprofits in general, like, you know, when you look at the salaries or the compensation for a lot of them, like 50% of their donations goes to compensation.
Oh, it has to. Yeah. Administrative costs are big.
Yeah. And then some of their compensation be like high 5 figures, close to 7 figures. And it's just like, you know, like if 6 figures, I understand, but when it starts hitting 7 and you're in a nonprofit,
who else gonna buy the Bentleys?
What's your intention?
Come on, man. Who else gonna buy the Bentleys? We got to do it, you know? So that's what Trump got in trouble for.
A whole bunch of them.
Because that one in New York, they shutting that down.
Yeah. It's gonna be, you know what's funny? Is we have Joe Biden and we have Donald Trump running for president in 2020. Like, is that really the best that we got?
That's the man. So this is a good question. Okay. So I'm a political junkie.
Yeah.
So that's probably, if I did something on my spare time other than golf, what I'm doing is researching elections.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is our country gets whiplash. Every 4 years you have a presidential election. Every 2 years you're having a congressional election that including some form of senator, some form of House of Reps. And then we even forget all the local elections. Because of that whiplash, you can never have the best.
Yeah. Because
the best will never put themselves in that situation.
Yeah.
Why would you go do something where you're only guaranteed 2 years to work on something?
Yeah.
And then the whole time while you're working on something, there's people who are actively working against you.
Trying to mess it up.
That's what I would never understand about our political system.
Yeah.
I am not I didn't study political science, but probably all of my 30s, that's really what I've spent a lot of time in.
Yeah.
And none of it makes any sense.
Yeah. No, I agree. Jesse Bladen.
Oh, that's the name.
That's
okay, he got it.
Look, I got it. Look, I told you I was going to get it. Man, big shout outs to Jesse Bladen, man. That's a big inspiration. I studied a lot of his work and his business model.
I'm gonna look him up too then.
Yeah,
I will.
For sure. Jesse Bladen, Nipsey Hussle, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Lamar Wilson. And, you know, now we got LP over here, man.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there for sure. I'm a big believer in manifestation and speaking things into existence. We're not far away.
Yeah. If you could give somebody a platform,
yeah,
like you're giving a voice to people who are typically voiceless.
Correct.
So I think that's big, man. If you were to tell like my audience any one thing, like what would you want to tell them?
Okay. Yeah. So I've got maybe 2 things.
Okay.
So first, I would say if you have a kid under 10, math and science is more important than any other homework they're bringing home. What we often do, especially in our community, that math starts to get difficult when you get about 6th grade.
Yeah.
Where as the parent, we can no longer help them.
Yeah.
Get a tutor.
Yeah.
And if you're in college or you're just now, picking up into crypto or finance, go get with someone who can teach you the basics of financial literacy. Yes, you know what a checking account is. Yes, you know what a savings account is. But do you know the difference between simple and compounded interest?
Yeah.
Do you know the difference between what's happening with your credit card versus a secured loan? Go get you that information.
Yeah.
So that'd be first. Second thing I would tell people, subscribe to CJ the Smart Guy's podcast. All right?
Appreciate that.
And support my brother when he's going out. They are doing yeoman's work out in communities, actually talking to small groups of people about what's next when it comes to the power of financials. And we're talking crypto, we're talking blockchain, we're talking all that. If you want an expert, this is your guy.
Man, appreciate you,
Come on, man. Come on.
Appreciate you for coming on. Man, CJ the Smart Guy, we out.